I just saw the most recent Ayaka as well as weapon banner for Ayaka, and the weapon banner and the Ayaka banner are going to be a massive skip for most players unless you've been saving for Ayaka, of course. And if you've been saving for a long time for Ayaka, you've probably done some pity summons already. You already got your pity built up on other banners, and you've been waiting for the character, so you're just going to summon for the character, get the character, and then leave the banners after that. If you're in that group of players, you can go for the character. Obviously, it's fine. Ayaka's great. For everyone else, these banners are really, really rough. Let's jump into it. So we got the new banner information. I didn't notice it till this morning. So here is the new banner for characters. We have Ayaka. The Ayaka banner is with Rosaria, Razor, and Sayu. Now we somewhat called this Razor because we've been calling it Razor for a while now. But Sayu was one of those characters that hasn't come out in a minute, and the Rosaria as well. This overall banner, the only valuable character to get on this banner for a DPS style character, or a character that would be a good booster, would be Rosaria. Both Razor and Sayu have been touted to be these characters that are kind of like mistake characters that if you wanted to build them, that would definitely hurt your account. Sayu is a character that I very much love, unfortunately though. So if you don't know this, Sayu is the best character in the game to keep at level 20. She is the best level 20 character in Genshin because all you gotta do is throw a bunch of HP artifacts on her and she rolls around the map, getting you places, get your butterflies and whatever you need, and she's insane. When it comes to combat in Genshin, she is pretty lackluster. I have built her on one of my accounts. I didn't make a Sayu video because I was actually so disappointed in the character that I didn't want to talk about it. But essentially, you can use any weapon you want, even, you know, the character weapon, the weapon of the weapons is probably the most important weapon to talk about right now, which I don't even have in this account, which is so surprising. And it is the best weapon in Genshin to put on Sayu. It's the bell, which is on the weapon banner. So, I mean, you can summon for Sayu's best weapon because it's an HP-based weapon, 4-star weapon that allows you to not die while you stay level 20. Maybe level that puppy to level 40 just because you have the extra materials in your box. And then you won't die to the random hilichurl that throws out a freaking firebomb at you. Or the treasure hoarder that says, hey, you know what? Another test subject. And you don't become that test subject. So that's probably why it's the best weapon for Sayu, because you can roll around the universe as the strongest character not dying. All right. The other 4 weapons we got on the weapon banner are Favonius weapons, which are very, very valuable. And we'll talk about those a little bit later in the video. But back to Sayu. Great character to have. Not a great character to level for combat. Insanely fun character to roll around the map on. Love her. Next up, Razor. The reason he's bad. There's twofold reasons that Razor is bad. The first reason Razor is bad as a character is that when you get Razor leveled up, there is energy generation in constellations, right? There's energy regeneration on his constellation. There's increased crit rate by 10% whenever enemies are super, super low. There's defense shred, which is really good. The C4 is really good. And then the C6 is not good at all because it's electro damage. And Razor's entire kit is based on physical damage, and he actually has a physical damage ascension stat. So whenever you level up Razor, you're actually getting more and more physical damage. And because you get more physical damage on Razor every time you level him up, going for more damages. Oh, I don't know why I have 2-piece Petra on him. I don't even ask. When you get more physical damage on him, he gets stronger, but his ascension stats and all his other stuff rolls off, you know, electro. He just has too many things that he needs to build on for damage. And even if you give him a Chad weapon like a Wolf Gravestone, Skyward Pride, or even the other weapons out there that are 5-star weapons, probably never going to do enough damage, and you're never going to feel like he's impactful. And the other character that came out in the game that was super, super good, that actually completely power crept him, was Bula. And Bula is way better, so unfortunately, even at C6, Bula just dumpsters him. Now on to the most important character on the banner, besides that, which is, besides the other 4-star, which is going to be Rosaria. Rosaria is a Chad. Best in slot weapon for him is for her is the Favonius Lance. Now, the reason this is the best weapon for Rosaria is because if you get the Favonius Lance to Refine 5, which is on this banner, you can actually generate 6 energy for whatever character you want to funnel to every 6 seconds at Refine 5. And this is an extremely powerful weapon for Rosaria because Refonius weapons rely on you creating a critical chance. The reason this is the best in slot weapon for Rosaria is because Rosaria has Ascension talents that actually make this really powerful. First off, whenever you strike an opponent from behind, which is what your elemental skill does, you end up getting extra critical chance rate. And if you're using Rosaria on a cryo team, you get a thing called cryo resonance, which gives you another 15% crit rate, which means by herself, she gets a total of 27% extra crit rate on the second strike of her elemental skill. Because when using the first strike of this ability, the first strike will end up applying cryo, and the second hit will end up doing the damage and being the critical strike. Lastly, if you do use using a 4-piece Blizzard Trader set on her, you end up actually getting another 20% crit rate, so you barely need any crit rate at all in Rosaria. Unfortunately, though, if you do build with a lower crit rate set, you're not getting the passive triggering as much for the right determination set, but you end up getting, you go for like more critical damage and go for other build rates and that, rather than give your team extra critical rate chance. And for Rosaria, the only thing that you need for her actually be viable is Constellation 2, because her ultimate actually gets about 40 or 50% better depending on how you look at it with the Constellation 2. And after that, her Constellation 3, Constellation 5 will definitely help you. Constellation 4 is actually just nice for energy recharge. Constellation 6 will help for physical teams, but is not super necessary. She pretty much cops out at like C2 and then gets a little bit better for damage at C5. So as a low constellation necessary character, I use Rosaria all the time, just not on this particular account, because on my free-to-play account, I end up using Kaya instead, because the two characters are extremely similar, and I ended up getting, Kaya came out really early, and I had C2 on him before anything else happened, so I just decided to stay with it for a while. And, you know, plus he was triple crown before Rosaria even came to the game. For the other banner, Favonius weapons are all over this banner, and Favonius weapons are the most powerful weapons in Genshin Impact for free-to-play players. The reason they're so powerful is because they provide a ridiculous amount of energy recharge when used on supports, like Diona for Favonius Warbow or Venti if you're going to be using him. There's the Favonius Codex, which allows for other particle generation, etc., to get energy recharge, all that stuff. There's a ton of really good things with Favonius. But the thing about Favonius weapons, which is really problematic, is these weapons are on every single banner. And if they're on every single banner in Genshin, there's a very, very small group of players that should be summoning on the weapon banner specifically for Favonius weapons. These 4 weapons are going to be very helpful for everybody who needs energy recharge on their team so they can get your elemental burst up more often. But the only group of players that really should be summoning for these are players that are looking to decouple weapons because they don't have any weapons because they're really, really early into Genshin. Within the first 3 months to 6 months of Genshin, if you need a 4-star weapon, something a little bit on the weapon banner is fine, trying to get the rate up Favonius weapons, but the reality is you're probably going to get these weapons anyways, and summoning specifically for them is kind of a desperation move, just because you didn't have anything and there's nothing else you can get. You don't have any prototypes, you don't have anything, your luck is so bad, and you really just need to like make that last ditch effort to try to get a weapon. That's the desperation group that should summon for him. 95 to 99% of players should skip this banner because Favonius weapons are so prevalent on a lot of other banners. Okay. Now, as far as 5-star weapons, Mistsplitter's bitchin'. Unforged sucks. You can use it on some characters like Eula, and you can use it kinda on Ito-ish, but not really. But Unforged sucks. It's terrible. There's very, very few players that can use it. You have to use it with a shield, and it's just not good. Mistsplitter is great. Good on a lot of characters. Some consider it the best sword in Genshin. It really just depends on how you're using it and who's using it. But yes, it can be the best sword. And finally, the last character that we need to talk about is Ayaka. Is Ayaka a character that you must summon for? Well, here's the... my chat has been talking about this a long time, and a lot of people have been asking me about Ayaka and if she's a great character to summon for. Now, recently, I actually did a race with some people, with Mtash, and I was doing a race with him in Spiral Abyss. I didn't put it on YouTube because some of the chat got really toxic, and I really didn't want to subject YouTube to massive toxicity, and I don't like putting out toxic content. But it was fun, really fun. Mtash and I enjoyed it, and we ended up testing kind of Ganyu versus Kaya. And whenever I run what's it called, Ganyu versus Ayaka in team rotations, I find Ayaka is faster against a very large enemy, and Ganyu is faster against multiple groups of enemies because it's a little bit easier for enemy groupings. It really just depends on the situation which character is better, but between the two, they're very similar depending on fights. And I did find that Kaya was the reason I brought up the race with Mtash is because when I was using Kaya or using any other character as a cryo DPS, when they're using it with Shenhe, those characters actually did significantly well, and the speed of the runs was actually very similar to a person using Ganyu or Ayaka. So whenever I'm doing account reviews and things like that, I find that Ayaka is a very strong character to have, but when I'm playing my free-to-play account or I'm playing any other account, I feel like I don't really like playing Ayaka as a character unless I'm using it with Shenhe. Okay? And on my free-to-play account, a lot of people have been asking me if I'm going to be going for Ayaka. And the thought process is, well, I just got an Ayato with a Haran. I didn't put the summon video out. I wanted to talk about it in a separate video. I've been really like tired lately. I'm going to sleep. But I wanted to say that Ayaka can use a lot of different things, a lot of different weapons, a lot of different team rotations. If you have Ganyu, you don't need Ayaka. But if you are going to be playing a Morgana team cycled with Venti and Mona, and you've been saving for a while, and you had Venti and you like Venti a lot, Ayaka is extremely good with Venti. So just know that if you are looking for a good cryo DPS, Ganyu and Ayaka, pretty much the same in viability. They're great in overall content. There's no problems with the characters. And if you wanted to, you can also pick up Shenhe, and it makes a massive difference for your Ayaka. Just know that Shenhe may be coming out relatively soon because it makes sense based on where the locations are readed for the Chasm and Sumeru and potential artifact sets in the future, plus timing of banners. Also, Ito might be on the next banner, and Ito did come out at the same time as Shenhe, so she may be coming relatively soon. So if you are an Ayaka wanter, then you should probably consider also saving Primo Gems for Shenhe as well. For those people who are wondering, is the Mistsplitter worth getting for Ayaka? Yes, it is. It's very, very good. And if it was better between Shenhe and the Mistsplitter, it's really hard to say, but I would say that Shenhe is a little bit better if you use a Black Glyph, but not that much better than Ayaka with the Mistsplitter. It's pretty close, depending on how you look at things and the overall DPS plus the team rotations. Plus, you know, if you get Shenhe, she got that Asto. So for Ayaka, most important talents to get are the Elemental Skill and Elemental Burst for 99% of players. Some people can go for normal attacks, but E and Q are much more important. For constellations for Ayaka, just know that the constellations for Ayaka she is a crap character at C1. C2 is pretty good. C2 is probably the second strongest constellation. C4 is the strongest constellation for Ayaka. And then C6 is basically if you just want to see the big numbers, but not actually have good DPS increases. I really like the C6 on Ayaka. I think it's very well balanced and very good. And it works insanely well with Shenhe. So if you are looking for a C6 Ayaka and you want to get her, she gets really good at C6. And it's fun. But I don't really think you need constellations at all in Ayaka. She's strong enough without constellations. C2 for the extra bloom damage on the sides is only good against really large enemies and not super good against really tiny enemies that are all spread out. You end up knocking them away and you don't get the big hits in the bloom unless you're freezing, and even when you do that, it doesn't actually feel like the damage is hitting. It goes all over the place. But the C4 really makes the damage go up because you get basically like nearly a 30% multiplicative modifier on damage. So all your damage goes up by 30%, which is quite good. So, I mean, the C4 is just awesome. Comparatively, C6 is just, I would say, just for fun. That's going to do it for this video. My name's Sekapoko. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did enjoy the video, of course, like, subscribe, all the fun stuff. Let me know what you guys think about Ayaka and Shenhe in the comment section below, as well as, you know, maybe Ganyu saving for the future. Have a great day, guys.